As a market analyst, I already monitor market for around 20 years and around the world. And the development around the world is relatively different. But worldwide is it so that still more than 90% of invoices are exchanged paper-based. In some continents do we have a high adoption rate, so for example in Europe, in the US, just around 70% of invoices are still paper-based. The other 30% are preferred to be exchanged as a PDF invoice. The private industry is ahead. The private industry was always the driver for electronic invoicing or any kind of innovation typically, especially the larger one pushed it forward. They pushed the larger trading partners towards electronic invoicing. All of these trading partners have different requirements. Ones want ANSI, others EDIFACT, XML, CSV, whatever. And reality today, and I'm sure for the next 5 years, is that multi-format, multi-channel environment is really required to practice electronic invoicing. What is going on now in the market is that the governments are entering into the market also as electronic invoicing user, mainly on the inbound side, because the public sector is responsible for 16 to 18% of all procurements in the country. Means they are also a very large invoice receiver. And to process that in an optimized manner, do they push increasingly their suppliers to send them the invoices electronically. And the US government is already mandating them. They are in the final phase to mandate all suppliers from 2018. 2018 is also in Europe a milestone when all governments will be prepared to receive invoices electronically. I expect for sure a positive impact of all these business-to-government initiatives to the private sector. In most countries, between 45 to 65% of all companies in the country are suppliers to the public sector. And if the public sector is mandating electronic invoicing, more than half of the businesses are affected by that. So I'm very happy that the public sector is going this way. Unfortunately, most businesses start electronic invoicing coincidentally, and it's not a proactive approach. For that reason, one of my key recommendations is change from a reactive modus towards a proactive modus. Start the electronic invoicing project, because up to 7 departments in a company are affected by an electronic invoicing project. So bring these affected departments into the boat in an early stage, and they will definitely support that. And as it can be quite a huge project, I mean, larger companies are multinationals, they have cross-border invoices, and invoicing is an international project from day one on. If such a project is implemented, I mean, I mentioned it in my annual market report, it can take 12 to 18 months until a larger company can go up and running with electronic invoicing. And if they are ready for electronic invoicing, that is a prerequisite. What should never be forgotten is that electronic invoicing only works if all the trading partners, or at least a larger proportion of them, also supports electronic invoicing. And what is also key, if a company has a feeling about the structure of the suppliers, what they are able to do, it's absolutely key to communicate with them at least twice as much as you believe you should communicate. Of course, is it not so easy for me to see the future, but I have some good information in some countries that are ahead in a certain discipline. And I believe to feel which developments will also take part in other countries, for example. And overall, what I believe is that the electronic invoicing volume will annually grow each year for the next 5 years. In Europe 15%, in North America 20%, and in Asia 25%. So very, very strong growth rates. What I also see is that today we have too many image-based PDF invoices in the game. Typically 70-75% of all paperless invoices are image-based PDFs, and this will no longer be sufficient in the future. The market will become more demanding. In addition to these image-based PDFs, is the market demanding for structured data, either as a parallel file or embedded into a PDF. What I also see is the broadening of the scope, means the development beyond just electronic invoicing. So purchasing processes, orders, order confirmations have to be also included in a digital process chain, as well as entire procurement finally, including the sourcing and catalogs. So this is one development. Another development is that the tax authorities will become more and more influencing, means in an increasing number of countries will they mandate the market participants to exchange invoices per se just electronically. And this is already the case in Latin America, in Asia, in Southern Europe, and further countries will be affected by such mandates.